A couple of months ago, my childhood best friend reached out to me and asked if I'd be willing to help her with a very, very special project. Today we're going to be working on that project and I can't wait to tell you more about it. She actually asked me if I would make her grooms something for their wedding that is upcoming in the fall. They had a vision of a boutonniere that would actually be made out of sterling silver, and it would be a vase, so it could hold some flowers, but it would be different from a traditional boutonniere. This was my first time ever being asked to make something for somebody's wedding, so I felt so honored and I cannot wait to get into it, so let's get started. The tools for this project are pretty simple. We're going to be using some green wax, some pink wax, a file, my saw with a wax cutting blade in it, a wax drill bit burr in my flexshaft, and then my soldering pen, which I use for wax buildup. When I met with my friends, they told me they really liked this shape bud vase, so I actually printed it out on my label printer at the right size, and I'm just gonna stick it on to the wax just like this, and that'll make it really easy to do the cutout with my saw. So I have my wax saw blade in here, and that makes it nice and easy to just cut out around the lines as carefully as possible. So here is the shape all cut out. Here you can see it from the back. It's looking pretty good. And then I just peel this right off. And there we go. Okay, next I'm gonna start like rounding the vase over using my file. I'm really just going to kind of go at the edges until it starts rounding like that. I'm really trying to make sure that I just keep moving my file around. I don't want to stay in one place too long in case it gets too rounded or I take too much material off. Now that I have the shape roughed out, I'm going to come back in with a file that has a lower grit so that it gets some of these lines out. There's still some work to do, but it looks much better. I'm actually going to turn it around now to the back so that we can start carving that out. To carve it out, I'm going to be using my wax burr. I got this from Rio Grande, and if you can see the ridges in here, it helps it so that the wax doesn't gunk up the burr bit. If you try to use burrs that are made for metal, they'll get gunked up and they will stop carving wax out pretty quickly. So for this particular piece, the inside doesn't need to look perfect because it's gonna have a backing on it, so you won't be able to see it. But But I do want to make sure the wax is as thin as possible because this is a lot of silver, and as we all know, silver is very expensive right now. So the way that I usually check the thinness is actually by holding it up to the light, and you can kind of see like right here, it's a little bit thinner than some of the other places. So we might want to carve out a little bit more where it's still thicker. That is better. You can see some more light coming through. I don't want to push my luck too much. I probably could carve away a little bit more, but it does feel to me like it's getting pretty thin. Next, I'm going to do something that probably looks a little bit scary to some of you if you haven't seen this before. I am actually going to take a lighter and very, very gently go over this piece to get rid of the last of the marks from the files. This is kind of the lazy way of doing it, and you do have to be insanely careful because you can fully melt your piece, but it is really quick and efficient. Look how smooth it is after that. It's starting to shape up so good. Next, I'm going to cut out the backplate for this using my X-Acto knife and 22 gauge pink sheet. And then I will use my soldering iron to attach it all around the edges. And then the groom wanted a little jug handle, so I just added this little piece of blue wax wire, and I will attach it as well. It looks so cute. I'll smooth out the back a little bit, but we're just about done. And the most important little test, of course. Look how cute it is. I love that you can put little flowers in there. So just a few other things. I'm going to be sending this in for casting. I don't have the equipment to cast it myself. But I have a small family-run local business that I go to for all of my casting needs, and they're fantastic. I did ask them about the sprue for this guy because it's a little bit trickier of a piece than I normally work with in wax. And they're going to attach the sprue for me because they prefer to do it themselves unless you're an expert in sprueing. So the sprue is like essentially a piece of wire, usually a pretty thick piece of wire, at least for a piece like this, that will allow the metal to flow once the hot metal is poured in and the wax is melted out. So I'm going to take this guy in tomorrow, and I cannot wait to show you how it turns out.
2 days later.
Look what's back! I got this guy back from the caster. It did unfortunately have a blowout of the back. He said that he thinks the wall was a little bit too thin, but he gave me some tips on how to avoid that next time. One of them being to make the back piece a little bit thicker, and then another one being to actually poke like 2 holes through the back plate that would allow some air to flow through, and then they can be soldered closed once I got the piece back. I am just going to patch this with sterling silver. It fortunately does not need to be watertight, so the patch will be more so to keep the flowers in. But yeah, it'll be great once it is finished. But for now, I will leave you with this. Oh my gosh. These are just flowers I had laying around my house, but this is so cool. I did also get a pin, a sterling pin that I will solder onto the back as well so that it can be pinned to his suit. I cannot believe I was asked to make this piece. I love it so much. Thank you so much for following along with this really special project today. I had so much fun making it and flexing my creative muscles a bit. If you enjoyed this video, it would help my channel grow so much if you would like and subscribe down below. Thanks for watching, and I can't wait to see you for the next one.